Let's begin today's Vanguard news by giving people who bought Vanguard Dear Days 2 some solace, as DZBT04 is coming to the game as paid DLC on the 17th of April. And since you paid full price for a card game simulator with a free visual novel, Bushiroad is charging you more money if you want to play as these PNG images with voice acting. And if you don't have the money to buy your favorite waifu, Dear Days 2 will be giving away this husbando instead. I once mentioned that in order for Bushiroad to actually give a fuck about the game's balance, they have to be embarrassed on their tournament stream. As you can see, most players brought Bavsagra to the latest WGP, and trying to feature a match is going to get boring real quick if everyone is running the same thing. As a result, Bushiroad hit their lord down to 1 copy. Are we going to have another Shiranui incident where the restriction does nothing because Bushiroad hit the wrong card? Seriously, why the hell wasn't Dragveda choice restricted as well? Bavsagra can do 3 drive checks with an extra crit. She's way worse than Shiranui striding and getting the over trigger. Speaking of predictions, Seedless was indeed intended to replace Segon, as both it and Reziel got choice restricted. Either it's time to use a hostage build again to maximize Seedless, or it's back to using Painkiller Angel. Charmnid goes down to 2 copies because having a better Maple clone on a 5 attack deck was apparently too good. Meanwhile, a certain 4 attack deck with an actual Maple can't even use her. And Sturgna and Izasol goes to 2 copies as more Dragon Empire decks have better engines than them. Take note that this restriction list is for Japan, and the English side will be getting their own announcement on next Monday. Expect everything but the Veilord hit to be copy pasted, since Bushiroad doesn't have the balls to sabotage their latest cash cow. I would however give them props if they take this one step further and choice restrict Bavsagra with Dragveda as well. In case you wanted a cheap DSR, Vice-Ruger is the DSR of DZBT08, since the set apparently doesn't feature character decks that didn't previously receive a DSR before besides Kagetsu. The cover cards in DZSS11 will have a new mechanic calling them as ace units. You can only have 1 copy of ace units in your deck, and you can only use their unique ability once per game like a divine skill. With so much restrictions, it sounds as though these cards will be another expensive staple. In 3 years, every Vanguard Nation deck will look exactly the same, with the only difference are the Vanguard unit itself. Because Keta Sanctuary didn't have enough encounter decks, Alfred is coming to standard in DZSS11. Expect everyone to hoard their copy of Blaster Blade, which would probably quadruple in price as he hasn't been reprinted since DBT05. As a hint that most of Ichi's original cards are coming back, a special Zero and Virgila cards will be regarded as Gallatin and Soul Saver Dragon respectively. The encounters don't stop, as DZBT09 will have Daikaiser, as well as having the anime Bang Brave Bang Brav Burn as the next collab EX cards. Finally, a collab that actually makes sense instead of random school bands, fashionista angels, or even quintuplets. On top of this and the Skyride manga focusing more on card game battles, Vanguard is coming back to its Shonen Jump style roots, which is what made them popular in the first place. The hot-blooded craze doesn't end there, as Bushiroad plans to bring Buddyfight as a collab in Vanguard in the future. I'm guessing Bushiroad is finally threatened by Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's and Go Rush's success, that they're using the series that the original staff of Buddyfight used to work on. Because of better collabs we're getting in the future, I'm not much in the mood to cover the Av Mujika cards in DZBT08, but I'll leave you guys with my opinions as someone who hasn't even watched the show. The typical D-series starter that will make parents think you're into BDSM, no matter how you explain it to them. I'm surprised that most Bang Dream Grade 1 ride line units don't just outright give you a music card at this point. If they already did, I'm too tired to double check. So the grade 1 ride line can fetch you this card, which in turn can get you an Av Mujika card from the top 5 cards of your deck. The deck can thin itself faster than someone on a diet. So far we've went through 2 cards that can just straight up add a card from the deck without a cost, and now this. I feel some fucking bias. Is this the latest isekai titled that time alter ego Messiah reincarnated into a angsty teenage girl? I'm assuming her locking her own friends is a metaphor. That is of course the other cast are her friends. Finally, a searchability with a cost. For a second there I thought this was going to be a deck that never gets fucking punished. And her being unlocked basically gives out 10k power to each rear guard column. A Messiah player just cried as they need to wait till their second stride to even get to this kind of power level. I find it funny that this card needs an Av Mujica Vanguard, otherwise she retires herself in case someone techs her in other Bang Dream decks. This card might as well be pay 3 energy and retiring herself to revive any card that isn't another copy of herself. So she's the kind one, but also the one that has the ability to retire the opponent's rear guard. I'm assuming there's some dark lore to this ability. It looks like Alter Ego Messiah wasn't the only one who got reincarnated as a angsty teenage girl, so did Gabuelius. Did I miss something? Why would you want to prevent yourself from unlocking your rear guards? Messiah players can take revenge against this deck as a result. Bushiroad knows when to keep something spoiler free when it comes to their other properties. This might as well have both effects trigger regardless, seeing as Bang Dream decks tend to always have their field fix. I assumed this was supposed to combo with Crucifix X, but then I remembered you can only play one music order per turn. This reminds me of an old Yu-Gi-Oh card, where you destroy your entire field in order to use a very powerful card. Is it just me, or is this just striding with extra steps? In fact, this card reminds me of Ritual Summoning from Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a 28k attacker with triple drive that withstands and can do a single drive, all that without a discard cost. The fact you can use 16 copies of her is like the only audience and primarily focuses on one character makes me think she's an obsessed fan that's nearing Yandere level. Finally, we got the Dragon Empire race unit revealed for DZSS11, so we can finally gauge if they are worth our money and X space. Dragrit Amygdala, when placed on rear guard that isn't on the battle phase, gets 5k power. Then you can pay 3 energy to draw a card, and all the cards in one of your opponent's rear guard circle lose their abilities and cannot gain them until the end of the turn. Then put all the cards from that circle to the drop zone, and while on rear guard, he gets 5k power when he attacks. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or higher, he gets an extra 5k power if your opponent doesn't have any rear guards or their rear guard left the field by your card's ability. This is just underwhelming. That no wonder it was the first revealed ace unit. The unique skill has some use, but they are very limited, like trying to remove a specific unit that has protection like Veilord or the recent Blast token. But this is just otherwise a very expensive 25k grade 2 unit. And that concludes this Vanguard news without the bullshit. Special thanks to my Patreon members for continuing to support my content creation. Be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments how you're selling your Messiah deck in order to bang your dream.